There are two things that the Witterstaetter family of Cincinnati has been known for throughout the years: flowers and baseball. Whether it be Richard, who was known as the Carnation King, my great-grandfather R.C., who was known for breeding snapdragons, my grandpa Rich, first pitcher to throw a no-hitter for Elder High School, my uncle Dick, who played on the Elder State Championship team in 1959, or his cousin Joe Scher, who was also on the team in 1959 and 1960, or my cousin Stephen, who played for the Elder State Championship team in 1999. The family has always participated in America's pastime in one form or another. Even I have, though I didn't stick with it. This is the story of one of the unsung heroes of our family, a man who dreamt of being a professional baseball player and was able to make that dream a reality. Leo William Witterstaetter was born on January 13, 1890. He grew up on a farm in rural Delhi Township, a suburb of Cincinnati, Ohio. His father Charles passed away when he was only 4 years old. Raised by his mother Mary, he looked to his brother Richard as a father figure. The Witterstaetter brothers loved the game of baseball. They even formed their own team. After homing in his skills, Leo decided to shy away from the family business of farming and growing flowers to playing baseball professionally. In 1910, Leo was signed to play in the Virginia Valley League, founded by John Spinney, a Cincinnati sporting goods magnate. A Class D league, it consisted of 5 teams from West Virginia and 1 team from Ashland, Kentucky. He was an outfielder for the team from Charleston, the Statesmen. For reasons unknown, he was traded to the Point Pleasant Gallipolis Indians after 3 weeks in Charleston. In Point Pleasant, he became a favorite among fans and sports writers. The team was managed by Joe Reddy Mack, a former star second baseman of the Louisville Colonels and Baltimore Orioles. With a name like Witterstaetter, people were bound to say or spell it wrong. His teammates and fans affectionately called him Witter, and the name stuck with him for the rest of his career. Leo was assigned to play left field for the Indians and did so with ease. One sports writer for the Point Pleasant Register said,
"When Witter catches a fly ball, it's like dropping a pea in a barrel."
With Point Pleasant being on the West Virginia-Ohio border, family and friends were able to travel to see him play. The Point Pleasant Register documented one such trip that brothers Richard, Ed, and Charles made with their friend Ray Murphy. The Indians ended their 1910 season in 3rd place with a 57-51 record. During the offseason, Leo was recommended to Southern leagues by Virginia Valley executives as being one of the best outfielders in the game. Before the start of the 1911 season, Virginia Valley changed names and became the Mountain States League. Every one of the teams returned that year except for Parkersburg, but a team from Ironton, Ohio took their place. The season got off to a rocky start. The Indians were low in standings and were transferred to Middleport in the middle of the season. Despite some setbacks, during the second half they managed to rally and won the league championship in September. However, this was disputed by other clubs in the league, and at a meeting of the board of directors in December, Middleport was formally awarded the pennant. For his season batting average, Leo would post a .307. Riding off the league championship in 1911, Leo decided to look elsewhere to continue his career. While he was looking for prospects, a new independent league was forming to rival the National and American leagues. William A. Whitman and other New York businessmen formed the United States Baseball League in January 1912. The league announced that they would field teams in Brooklyn, New York City, Pittsburgh, Reading, Washington, Richmond, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. Each team would play a season of 126 games. Leo would come home the spring of that year to sign with Cincinnati. The club was owned by New York attorney John J. Ryan. Ryan hired Hugh McKinnon as general manager of the club, with Jimmy Barton standing as manager. Leo would be joined by fellow Indian Lee Dashner and former New York Giant Bugs Raymond. The Cincinnati Pippins, as they were called, were looking to play their games at Hippodrome Park, a ballpark owned by then Cincinnati Parks Commissioner William Gilbert. Gilbert built the park the year before on a 6-acre parcel of land located on Queen City Avenue between Valley Street and Spring Grove. When deciding whether or not to lease the ballpark to the new league, he sought out the advice of Cincinnati Reds president August Herman. Herman replied,
"Go ahead and get all you can out of them. Be sure to get your money in advance and get all you can. We would be glad to have the league come into Cincinnati, but see that you don't get stung."
He struck a deal with the club for a yearly lease of $2,000. Opening day for the new United States League was May 1st. The start of the game was 3 p.m. The Green Sox of Chicago defeated the Pippins in their inaugural game 5-4. On June 5th, after posting a 12-10 record, the owners of the Pippins called it quits. The entire league would fold a few weeks later. After being released, Leo, along with other teammates, sued John Ryan and Hugh McKinnon for unpaid salaries. They would win in court, Leo winning the remainder of his salary, totaling $88. After hearing the plight of the players in the United States League, other organizations were interested in signing the ones who wanted to finish out the season. Leo, along with Lee Dashner, would be picked up by the Columbia Commerce of the South Atlantic League. Playing 72 games and having 247 at-bats, Leo would post a season batting average of .296. In 1913, Leo was traded to the Charleston Seagulls, also of the South Atlantic League. With the Gulls, he would play 25 games, make 95 plate appearances, and post a batting average of .316. What happened next would be a controversy. On March 8, 1913, a third major league was born. The Federal League was founded by baseball promoter John T. Powers. Just over 2 months after this announcement on May 17th, Leo would leave the Gulls and sign with the St. Louis Terriers of the Federal League. By doing so, he would be suspended indefinitely from organized baseball. Leo would try to save his and the family's reputation by changing his name. During his tenure with St. Louis, he was known as Leo Jones. With the Terriers, he would play 107 games, have 414 at-bats, and post a .336 average. The offseason of 1913 would be a turning point for Leo's career. After baseball scout Larry Sutton watched him play with the Terriers, Sutton called his boss, Charles Ebbets Jr., and told him to draft Leo. Ebbets did just that, and sent him to the Newark Indians of the International League. Before he could even suit up for Newark, he had to be reinstated with organized baseball. The decision by the National Commission was in favor of reinstatement. On Tuesday, January 13, 1914, manager Harry Smith formally signed Leo to a contract. Leo went on record saying that he would never play in the Federal League ever again. He was amazed at the deplorable conditions of the ballparks where the Feds played.
Some baseball players may think they are making a 10 strike in joining the Federal League, but so far as I am concerned, they could not get me back if they offered me all the gate receipts for the circuit. Ball players who have never been lower than Class A don't know what it is to play in parks where the outfield is full of gullies, in which an ankle or leg might be broken with every step an outfielder takes in chasing a ball. A player gets a Charlie horse at once if he attempts to cut loose. At one park, I had to take off my shoes 3 times during a game to empty out the sand.
That didn't matter, because the boys from Brooklyn gave him a better contract than the Federal League ever could, and with good reason. His first season with Newark, he played 128 games with 451 at-bats. Out of those at-bats, he had 135 hits, 12 doubles, and 9 triples, making his batting average .299. He also managed to steal 11 bases. During one of the games against the Baltimore Orioles on June 13th, he would face a 19-year-old pitcher named George Herman Ruth, better known as Babe. With his 3 at-bats versus the Babe, he would walk once, score a run, and be thrown out twice at first base. The Indians would lose 3-2. He would face the Babe one more time in Providence, having one at-bat, with that at-bat turning into a single. Despite this impressive season for Leo, Newark ended the year with a record of 73-77, finishing 5th out of 8 teams. Having just won the International League Championship the year before, Charles Ebbets was thinking of selling the team. Harry Smith put his name in the hat for a possible new owner. However, in 1915, Ebbets fired Smith after 3 seasons as manager. In April, the team was sold to businessmen George L. Solomon and Henry W. Medicos. Their first act as new owners, rehiring Harry Smith. In parallel with the selling of the Indians, the Federal League made a move to expand their market. One of the expansion teams would be placed in Newark. With the Feds now competing for fans, the Indians would see their attendance dwindle despite winning games. The International League president, Edward G. Barrow, stated that Newark would stay at Wiedenmeyer Park because fans would see that the Indians played better ball. After attendance continued to drop, the Newark owners took a new direction in management. Harry Smith was replaced by longtime player Eddie Zimmerman. After talking with the league, the owners decided that they had no choice, and the team was relocated to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. In Harrisburg, the team would play at Island Park. With the relocation of the team and new ownership, also came a new affiliated Major League club, the New York Giants. Now having the association with the Giants, Leo had another brush with fame. In July of 1915, after not having much luck in New York, Jim Thorpe told Giants owners that he wanted to be sent to Harrisburg. Together, Leo and Jim would rule the outfield. However, their stint as teammates was not a long one. On August 28th, Thorpe was reassigned to New York. At the end of the 1915 season, the Harrisburg team would have a record of 61-76, finishing 6th out of 8 teams. Regardless of the outcome, Leo had another fantastic season, being the only player on the team improving in fielding. His batting average wasn't too bad either, with a .307, playing 135 games with 492 at-bats, 151 hits, 17 doubles, 2 triples, and 1 home run. During the offseason of 1915, the owners were not sure if they wanted to keep the team in Harrisburg or try to move back to Newark. One event would decide for them. The Federal League folded, and they packed up and moved the team back to Newark in 1916. This season, Leo would once again turn heads. He garnered the attention from many Major League scouts and managers, including Connie Mack of the Philadelphia Athletics and John McGraw of the New York Giants. He played 139 games, 525 at-bats with 154 hits, 17 doubles, 7 triples, and 2 home runs, bringing his batting average to .293. During the offseason, teams were fighting over who would sign Leo to a contract. In the end, it would be the New York Giants. In 1917, Major League owners had a dispute with the Professional Players Union, then known as the Fraternity. Their dispute was for players' wages at that time. Leo was a member of the Players' Fraternity and was instructed by President David Fultz not to sign a contract with New York until the problem was resolved. A report was put out in January saying that Leo had signed with the Giants, and so did Harry Sallee. The report was given out for the effect that it would have on other players. Sallee did sign and was banned from the fraternity for life. However, Leo did not sign. He was called into spring training in Texas in February. After playing a few weeks and still refusing to sign a contract, Leo was let go by McGraw and the Giants. The fraternity fired back and threatened to sue the Giants because in those days, players were given a trial before the National Commission if they were a drafted player and let go by the organization that drafted them. McGraw clapped back that because Leo had refused to sign a contract, he forfeited his right to a trial. After being let go by the Giants, Leo was signed by the Columbus Senators of the American Association. That team was managed by former Major League infielder and future Hall of Famer Joe Tinker. One of his teammates was former Major League pitcher and future Hall of Famer Mordecai Three Finger Brown. With the Senators, Leo would go on to play 52 games with 165 at-bats, 41 hits, 3 doubles, 1 triple, and 1 home run, making his batting average .248, a career low. During the season, he would break his leg at a game versus Louisville and be benched for most of the season. After the conclusion of the 1917 season, Columbus traded him to St. Joseph, Missouri, but this would not last. Leo gave up professional baseball and moved back home to Cincinnati. While he was not playing, he would have jobs as a salesman and even tried his hand at being a florist. He did not give up playing the game, though. During the 1918 and 1919 seasons, Leo would play for semi-pro teams in the greater Cincinnati area, including Norwood and Bellevue. In July of 1920, Leo received a call from Bunny Madden of the International League Syracuse Stars. At the age of 30, he signed on to be their new right fielder. Playing 96 games, he would have 371 at-bats, 101 hits, with 18 doubles, 7 triples, and 1 home run, making off with a batting average of .272. After the 1920 season, Madden was replaced by Frank "Shag" Shaughnessy. Shaughnessy would eventually go on to invent the Shaughnessy playoff system, which is still in use today by the NCAA college basketball tournaments and the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Shaughnessy decided to give Leo a new position, first base. In that season, Leo would be one of the best fielders on the team. With 1,460 putouts and 77 assists, he put out an impressive fielding percentage of .979. With excellent fielding also came excellent batting. Playing 160 games with 612 at-bats, he had 201 hits with 31 doubles, 8 triples, and 4 home runs, putting his batting average at .328. Before the start of the 1922 season, Leo hung up his jersey. Shaughnessy kept him on the roster as an alternate in case of injury. He would finish with a career batting average of .304. After Leo came back home, he would go on taking up the family business and became a florist. Once again, he could not give up the game of baseball. He would play for semi-pro teams throughout the late 30s. In the 1940s, Leo was asked to join the Cincinnati ball players of yesterday. They held their annual dinners at the Netherland Plaza in the Hall of Mirrors. He would share the honor with the greats of Cincinnati baseball and other players within the game. One of those annual dinners included a chance meeting with one of the honorary members, Grover Cleveland Alexander. He was a pitcher for the Phillies, Cubs, and Cardinals, and one of the first members of the Baseball Hall of Fame. Leo would pass away on September 19, 1965, at age 75. He is buried in St. Joseph New Cemetery in Cincinnati. His legacy lives on to this day. His childhood home still stands and became the home of the Delhi Historical Society in 1991. Its driveway is aptly named Witterstaetter Lane. His bat from his last season in Syracuse has been in my family's possession for over 14 years. Growing up, Leo's career was not widely talked about in our family, although his love for the game would be passed on to each future generation. Without his passion for baseball, I don't think our accomplishments would have happened. In my opinion, he was the Westside Natural.